And Mr. Crowley, I'd love to start with you. Just a quick question here. Would you say that the U.S. right now is the leading country in the world when it comes to biotech?
Senator, yes, we are the leading country in the world when it comes to biotechnology, but China is a rising competitive threat and a rising threat in general.
So in that case, so right now you can say definitively we are
in the lead
leading
today.
country. What about in 10 to 20 years from now? Can you make that same definitive
No,
statement?
not at all. In fact, it's a lot sooner than that. If you look at the National Security Commission report on emerging biotechnology, they have 49 recommendations to strengthen, maintain, and advance our lead in biotechnology, but we need to act boldly and we need to act today. We believe within 2 to 3 years we can lose this. To give you some perspective, 10 years ago, about 2% of the innovative medicines being developed in the world came from China. A decade later now, it's about 25%.
Mr. Schiller, I mean, what we just heard from Mr. Crowley saying, even within 2 to 3 years that we could be losing our competitive edge here. I really think that the key here is not just what are the steps that are going to move us forward, but for us as a committee and as a country to embrace the urgency of this moment. I guess I want to ask you, are we operating with the level of urgency as a nation, as a government, as an industry that we should be at this point?
Senator, thank you. I don't think we are. And I think there's more we can be doing to try to ensure that the regulatory system, the ecosystem, allows for faster trials getting off the ground in the United States so that less of that research is moving out to other countries.
Mr. Macauer, you talked about, Dr. Macauer, you talked about this in terms of the challenges that we're facing, whether it's about reviewers and turnover on that front, or just resources writ large. I guess I want to ask you in terms of the FDA, does the FDA have the resources and the staffing needed right now to be able to meet this urgency that we've been talking about in terms of our global lead on biotech?
Thank you for the question, Senator. We could do much better. We absolutely should be refilling vacancies one-to-one. We absolutely need to deploy the latest technologies in reviews. Most importantly, to be competitive, we need to reinforce and deeply invest in our U.S. scientific and clinical infrastructure. That science has propelled innovation in this country, and it's absolutely important. We also need to support intellectual property and stand behind our U.S. innovations and fight infringing entities who are coming mostly from China that are utilizing our intellectual property to create their businesses. So these are the types of things we can do to support our competitiveness in this effort.
No, and I think we absolutely need to be taking that on. But when it comes to the FDA, I will say, when I hear what you're saying when you're saying we need to backfill one for one,
Yep.
Based off of what's happened. But I also just want to make sure, like, we're not just trying to tread water here.
Right.
We're really trying to figure out how we can move forward. Like everyone here, I feel like none of you would say that we're on the trajectory that we need to be in terms and the urgency that we need to be on. So I just urge this committee to, yes, we can think of some steps. And we can ask this question, are we on the right path? And backfilling one-to-one, that can be part of it. But it's not just about are we on the right path, it's are we with the right velocity that we're trying to be moving forward on. And, Mr. Schiller, just wanted to go back to you. I mean, one thing that could really unlock some of this velocity is about AI and utilizing that to be able to supercharge our research. What regulatory or statutory changes do you think are necessary to encourage the innovative use of AI?
So the most exciting uses of AI in drug development involve reducing the time, the expense of drug discovery and getting compounds into clinical trials. And if we can find ways to move from that process into first-in-human studies more efficiently and move from computer trials to human trials, that would help substantially. And then leveraging AI as a tool within our clinical trial infrastructure. I think there's much more that we can be doing where AI can help with decentralized and community-based trials, helping with trial recruitment. The more those tools are leveraged, the more competitive our system becomes.
Thank you. I really just want to hit home here as I conclude, that the one word here for me is about urgency. And I don't want to think about it just in terms of the urgency for economic gain or the urgency for geostrategic leadership. I thought, Mr. Crowley, your opening of your testimony, it was about the urgency of a dad, an urgency of a parent, And I hope our nation moves with that same level of urgency and speed that we would as a parent trying to save the lives of our children. And this is really, sometimes it gets lost in this talk about just industries and whatnot. But what this really should be about is about saving lives and the ability for our country to save millions of lives around our country and around the world. And with that, I'll yield back.